Hello everyone, Tripster here, and today we're back with another Starfield video. This is going to be another min-maxing video, and today we'll be examining the engine systems in Starfield. So I have a ship set up here in the builders, the shipbuilder, so we will experiment with this. Let's go to the shipbuilder. So you can see I'm running the Poseidon DT engines. We'll make some changes so we can see more, but first let's get to the data. So here's the spreadsheet that I have made regarding the engines. As you can see, currently it's sorted by forward thrust. Another important statistic is the maneuvering thrusters. That's what gives you the mobility. And then there's health. Mass is also very important for maneuverability. And then here are a couple of my custom columns that I have added. Number of engines. The maximum amount of power you can have allocated to the engines is 12. So if each engine takes 4 power, then you can have 3 engines. If the engine requires 3 power, then you can have 4 engines. And when you go down to the bottom here, there's a couple of the engines that only require 2 power, so you can have up to 6 engines. So let's take a look at these columns here. Thrust per power. So everything that's green is regarding the forward thrust calculation, and the red ones are the maneuvering thrust calculations. So if we sorted by maneuvering thrusters, here you can see that they change a little bit, so they're not one-to-one. Having higher forward thrust doesn't automatically mean you have more maneuvering thrust, so that's something to keep an eye on. Also, the weight of the engine, the mass will change as well. So thrust per power, that's a simple calculation of forward thrust divided by the power needed for the engine, so that's more like an efficiency of the engine. And then maneuvering per power, it's the same thing, just using the maneuvering calculations. Combined thrust, that's a simple calculation of how many engines you can have multiplied by the thrust. So if you have 3 engines here, and each one produces 34,000 forward thrust, the total would be 103. Same thing with the combined maneuvering thrust. And this is a more of an efficiency calculation here. Thrust per 1 mass. So it's a simple of the total combined thrust divided by the total combined mass of all the engines. So that's again more for an efficiency. If you're trying to make a lightweight ship and you worry about the weight, that's when this will come into play here, these two figures. So this is for a battleship, that's what I currently have, so let's go over that example. We want the highest maneuverability just because I believe the speed limit for the bigger ships is 130. So let's sort the spreadsheet by combined maneuvering thrust. And currently I have the Poseidon DT230 engines, which is right there, 34,000 combined maneuvering thrust. And let's see what happens when we add. I am not sure if my current docking will have the SAL 6830, however I will check for both. So you can see this one will have a little more combined maneuvering thrust, even though it's a C class. However, the forward thrust is much lower. So even though it's not the best engine, because you can have more of them, technically we should have higher efficiency. So let's see what we can do about that. Let's bring up Starfield. So you can see my ship right now is at 99 mobility, so let's add a couple heavier cargoes so we can get that a little lower. and there's 93, and there is 80, and there's 69. So this will be our test subject, and currently with the 3 available highest thrust engines, the Poseidon DT 230s, we have 69 mobility and 230 top speed. So let's delete those, and we need engines. So we need the cell 6830. Let's see if those are available. I do not see them. Nope. So I do see the 6330, which are the next available. So let's add some of those. So let's copy that. There we go. Let's copy a few more. And then let's do the last one. And we need one more. There we go. So you can see that I think the errors, yep, we need, okay, I don't have enough credits, which is fine. And the ship has too few landing gears. So I am over my landing gear just because more engines is more weight, right? So this makes sense. Obviously I don't have enough credits to buy this, and the shape and size, I can move this around, and I think it would work if I move this engine somewhere in front. But again, since this is just for testing purposes, I will leave it there. But you can clearly see the mobility went up from 69 to 74 just by switching out the engine. So the calculations are correct. So let's go back to the spreadsheet. So here we go. The combined thrust is higher, and also the combined maneuverability is also higher, which in our example increased the mobility of our ship. And last here, just so we can go over this column, if you're doing a very light attack vessel, this will be a little more efficient just because you will have less weight per engine, if that makes sense. So that's worth considering as well. But other than that, if you're making a big ship, the combined thrust makes a little more sense for heavier ships. And the last thing I want to go over is the lower class engines. So if you go here and you check the best A class, it is this one. One thing to keep in mind is it does not unlock until level 38, and by that time you probably have a B or a C class reactor, so this might not be that useful just because it unlocks at a very high level. So something that's a little more attainable is this one down here, and that's the best. Here we go. So this is a more realistic engine for new players. It unlocks at level 1 and has, you can install 4 of them, and the total combined is 61,000 thrust. And that's it. That concludes our guide for the engines. I really appreciate the comments. I really appreciate the support that I've received in the past few videos. In the next one, I will be going over the reactors. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and I will see you there.